Visalia with Coach Barnes, First Responders. Today we're here with the Visalia Police, and we have as our production, we have Coach Barnes, our camera is Clara, and for behind the scenes we have Madison, Bailey, Brooklyn, and Miss Hauser. Roll 5, take 1.
Hey, it's Coach Barnes again here, and we are going to continue with our lessons on first responders, and this time we got the Visalia Police Department, and today we're very fortunate to have Visalia Police Chief Jason Salazar here, and we're going to do a short interview with him, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his department. So thank you, Chief Salazar. I want to appreciate the opportunity to come here, and go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. I'm happy to be here with you today. Again, my name is Jason Salazar, and I am the Chief of Police for the Visalia Police Department. The Visalia Police Department provides public safety services to all of the city of Visalia, which is almost 140,000 people in our city. We have about 160 police officers that work here at the department, and a total of about 250 employees that provide a variety of services. So we provide police patrol services, we have police canine officers, we have dispatchers that work in our communications center. They're the ones that answer 911. And we also have folks that do crime lab and criminal evidence type of duties. And then our records personnel who take care of all of our reports. So there's a variety of jobs and opportunities here at the police department, and we're happy to serve the city of Visalia. Our key role is to keep Visalia safe, and you've probably heard the term protect and serve, and the role of police officers, whether it's in Visalia or in any community, is to work with their community to make their community a safe place for everyone to enjoy, whether that's when you're out at the park and trying to enjoy some leisure time, or when you're at school. Our role is to keep you safe, and also to keep businesses and traffic safe so that you can go around and participate in all the activities our great city has to offer safely. And our goal is to work with the community to provide those services. So you often hear the term community policing, and policing has always been about police officers who are designated in a role to provide safety as their job, but they can only be effective if you have a good relationship with the people that live in their community. And that could be you and everybody that comes and visits Visalia. Our job is to develop good relationships with them, because if you don't have that, you can't really serve the public well and provide for a good quality of life in the community. We have a lot of exciting opportunities here at the Visalia Police Department. So I talked about our officers that work on patrol. Some of our favorite police officers that we have are our police canines. They're the police dogs. Right now we have 4 police dogs that patrol the streets, and they are always some of people's favorite police officers that are out there doing the job, and they go out. They help officers on different calls for service, but they also do a lot of outreach with the community. We also have investigations, and they work crimes like violent crimes or property crimes, and they do detective type work. That's the type of work you see a lot on TV. And we also have crime lab, and they're the ones that process crime scenes and do fingerprints and check for DNA and take photographs and evaluate crime scenes where crimes take place. We also have officers that work on school campuses, and that is probably where some students probably see the most of their officers, is when they're on campus and they see their officer there working on campus trying to make sure the schools are safe and patrolling the areas around the schools. We also have a number of other teams. We have teams that work with gangs, we have teams that work with drugs, and we have a team that is dedicated solely to working with providing services to those in our community who are without a home. And that has become a bigger issue in years past. And they're out there providing services and trying to get help to reduce those calls for service and the impact on our community. And they provide a very valuable role as well. And then we also have a big part of our community outreach and work with kids is our Police Activities League. And they are now at the Whitman Center here in Visalia, and there's a dedicated officer and other volunteers and officers who work with youth in the neighborhood or throughout Visalia and with many kids at the schools to provide different types of activities, whether it's leadership training or help with homework. And then they also provide a boxing program to get kids involved in sports and a number of other activities. So there are a lot of great opportunities here at the Visalia Police Department as a career choice. as a means to give back and to serve our community. You know, I was asked a special message that you would like, if I would like to share, and it's something I saw today, and it says, luck favors the prepared. And essentially what that means is a lot of times we think about, man, if I could just be lucky. And sometimes we are lucky and good things happen to us, but most of the time, luck comes to people who are prepared. They're the ones that study the hardest, they're the ones that give the most of themselves, they work hard. And when you commit yourself to those goals, working hard, doing well in school, being good to people, that is when you tend to find the most luck and the most favor. And so my biggest message to anybody would be, if you want to be lucky, be prepared. Study hard, treat people well, and take care of yourself, and that is what will get you luck. As far as becoming a police officer, or even any of the other activities that are here at the department, whether that's in our records or crime lab or in our dispatch center. Right now, the education requirement is high school, but after you graduate high school, you typically have to go through a police academy, which is about 6 months long. And in the police academy, you get other training to prepare you to become a police officer and learn about laws and all the things you need to learn to go out and do this type of work. And then you go out and can become a police officer or any one of those other roles here at the department. Some of that will be changing. I think here in the near future, you'll probably see a college education requirement for law enforcement. And I think that's a very good thing because school helps you to think better. It helps you become a better problem solver. One of the things that you don't see on television a lot about police work is writing. We do a lot of writing. And so it's important to be able to read and to write well. And so education is a very key component to become a police officer. So if that is something you want to pursue in any other varieties of law enforcement work, my suggestion is strongly to go out and pursue your college education and then go out and look for a career in law enforcement. But there's great opportunities to serve. It's an exciting opportunity. There's always going to be law enforcement jobs, and we're just honored to serve Visalia.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing more of the police station as well as some of the vehicles and other things that are connected to policing. Appreciate your time.
All righty, thank you.
Hey, this is Coach Barnes. I'm on the outside of the Visalia Police Department headquarters, and with me is Officer Sabo, who is in motors. And I'm going to ask him to explain what is motors.
Well, motors is what we call our traffic unit. We're responsible for responding to traffic collisions and traffic-related issues, as well as writing citations to help enforce traffic violations, and especially speed zones around the schools, and dealing with that type of issue.
Okay, then did you volunteer to be part of motors? And if so, then what kind of training did you have to have?
Yeah, after working for a few years in patrol, then there was an opening in motors, so we request a spot in motors, we interview for it, and then if we're selected, we go through a 2-week training course where we learn how to do a bunch of really tight corners and sharp turns and primarily low speed maneuvers with a really heavy motorcycle. This one is lighter than the first one that I learned on, but this is still, I believe, 600 or 700 some pounds. So once you drop it a couple times during training, then it seems to get heavier and heavier every time you pick it up.
Now, when you go into motors, how long is your commitment?
Generally 4 years, and then after 4 years, if you still enjoy it and your supervisor still wants you to work there, then you can submit for like 12-month extensions, usually at least a couple times.
Now, I remember that the department used to have Harley Davidsons. What type of bike is this? And maybe you want to show us a little bit about your bike.
So I learned initially on the Harley Davidson. I did just under 4 years of riding that bike, and then went back to patrol for a few years, and then came back into motors the second time, and now we're on BMWs, which are a little bit more maneuverable, a little bit lighter, and a whole lot more buttons and switches that we have to mess with. We have a hard-mounted radar that has an antenna that goes to the front and to the back, so that when we're on the motorcycle, we have a display on it on the front. And then there's also the handheld radar and LiDAR. The LiDAR is similar to a radar gun, but it uses a focused laser instead of a broad radio wave that the radar does.
Oh my goodness. No, that's buttons and whistles, all right.
Yes. I like to be able to get people's attention, make sure that they see us coming and know to get out of the way.
Now I know you have a helmet somewhere, right?
Yes.
And are there any, I imagine you have a radio inside your helmet, a radio receiver and transmitter?
There is. We're fortunate enough to have a wireless setup, so it's all Bluetooth from this radio mic, so that there's buttons for a public address system and to key our radio on the motorcycle that communicates with this radio that communicates with the speakers in our helmet and the microphone here, so that we can get on and off the bike without having to unplug or anything, and then we can still talk with keeping our both hands on the handlebars.
Do you very often see children who are supposed to be wearing helmets riding bicycles without their helmets?
I do see some, and that's definitely not a good idea, especially with as many programs and opportunities that they have around here to be properly educated and get high quality helmets donated to them.
Okay, thank you so much, officer, for showing us your bike and telling us a little bit about your job.
You are very welcome. Hello, your favorite Officer Sabo back again. This time we're peeking out the top of our SWAT Bearcat. This is our armored vehicle that we use as part of the SWAT team. Has a bunch of different tools and capabilities that our regular patrol vehicles don't have. Like, for one, this hatch up on the roof that we can utilize as we're doing the more higher risk parts of being on the SWAT team. Our SWAT team right now is currently made up of 22 members, and in order to get onto the SWAT team, you have to apply for it, and then there's a shooting test, a physical fitness test, and then an interview with our team leaders, and then they make selections after that. We have lights on the roof that are directional that we can control from inside. If you look or get an opportunity to look at the windows, you see that they obviously don't roll down and open up like regular car windows, because they're supposed to be bullet resistant and can withstand a 50 caliber rifle round to the body or to the windows or windshield. We have a ram to knock over fences or to pull gates down to make sure that we can get to where we need to in order to do our job.